Hello friends, I welcome you all to my channel. In this channel, I make videos on mathematics from class 6 to 10, also 11, 12 and also coding. This video is part of the playlist Python, the beginner's daily dose, where I try to make content on the general Python programming and the basic fundamental concepts. So these videos are targeted are primarily for the beginner level Python programmers. So in this video, I will discuss how two objects in Python are compared for equality. Before I get started, uh, I will request all my viewers, if you are watching my videos regularly and if my videos are beneficial to you, then I will appreciate that if you please subscribe to my channel that will support me to grow my channel and like my videos, share the videos with your friends and also do not forget to press the bell icon so that you will be notified by my future videos because I will keep on uploading this kind of videos on regular basis. So let's get started with this video. Okay, so I have two windows. On the left hand side, I have a Python interpreter shell, and on the right hand side, I have roughly written the algorithms that is used to compare two objects in Python. First of all, in one of my previous video, I explained that every data in Python is an object, and an object in Python has two major attributes. One is its type, that is what is the data type of the object, and one is the value or the content. So in Python, we can know the type of any data by using the built-in function type. So for 12 we get int, for let's say ABC we get its string. Let's say for list we get list, and for tuple we get tuple. For string, for dictionary we get dictionary, and for similarly for a user defined class it will say class. Now for the in this video I will primarily discuss how uh, how the data types, numeric data types, the string data types, the list, tuples, set, and dictionary and user-defined classes are compared. So when we invoke the equal operator on two objects, how are they actually compared to be equal or not equal? So at the bottom you can see the main function compare underscore object. It takes two objects, object 1 and object 2. So the algorithm is as runs as follows. First, it will check whether the whether object 1 and object 2 are identical. Now in Python, two objects are identical when their ID are same. There is a built-in function ID in Python which returns a numeric value along a big large uh, numeric value that represents the unique identifier of an object during the runtime of a Python program. So let's say we have x equals to 12 or y equals to a list, we can see the ID of x and y. So it prints the ID of the x and y. You can consider the ID of an object equivalently as memory address of a variable in C or C++. So this ID, so if the ID of two objects are same, that means uh, the two objects are pointing to the same data in the memory. So in the compare object algorithm, so if object 1 and object 2 are identical objects, that is they are uh, pointing to the same memory address, they are pointing to the same object that have the same memory address, then obviously they are identical objects, they are identical objects and it will return true. Now if they are not identical objects, then it will check whether the type of the two objects are compatible or not. Now in Python, uh, uh, for the compatible type, I have written the algorithm also for compatible type, uh, which is the algorithm to check whether object 1 and object 2 have compatible type or not. Now in Python, if the two objects are numeric, then they are of compatible type. So object 1 can be int or float and object 2 can be int or float. If that is the case, they are compatible and it will return true. Now, if they are, if the objects are strings, they are compatible, so it will return true. Similarly, if the objects are lists, both the objects are of type lists, then it will return true. If both the objects are of type tuples, it will return true. And if both the objects are of type sets, it will return true. Similarly, if both the objects are of type dictionaries, it will return true. And finally, if both the objects are instances of the same class, it will return true. If none of these conditions are a match to be true, then finally it will return false, meaning the two objects, the type of the two objects are not compatible. So two objects having incompatible types are always uh, are always uh, will always return false when they are compared with the equality operator. So by the equality operator, I mean equals equals. So you cannot compare a numeric with a string, it will return false. You cannot compare a string with a list, or list with a tuple, or a tuple with a set, or a set with a dictionary, or a dictionary with a list. It will always return false because their types are incompatible. So in the compare object algorithm, if the types are incompatible, then it will immediately return false. Now, in the third step, if the two objects are of type list, then it will invoke the algorithm compare sequence, which I have also written down. So it will invoke compare sequence on the two objects. Now, how two sequences are compared in Python? So see the compare sequence algorithm, we have two inputs, sequence 1 and sequence 2. First, it will check whether both the sequence have the same number of elements. If they do not have the same number of elements, then it will immediately return false. They are not equal sequence. So, so when they when they have same number of elements, then it will compare each individual elements, each corresponding elements of the two sequences corresponding to the same index position. So it will compare with the first, it will it will then recursively invoke the compare object on the first element of sequence and the second element of first element of sequence 1 and the first element of sequence 2. If that returns false, then this whole compare sequence algorithm will return false. And if all the corresponding elements of sequence 1 and sequence 2 are compared to be equal using the compare object algorithm, then it will return true. So similarly, we have a compare set. It takes two inputs. It takes two sets, set 1 and set 2. Again here, it will first check whether the two sets have the same number of elements. If it is not the case, it will return false. Now, if they have the same number same number of elements, it will now check whether each element of set 1 is present in set 2. So, for each item in set 1, it will check whether the item is present in set 2 or not. If it is not present in set 2, it will immediately return false. It will finally return true when all the elements of set 1 is present in set 2. Now, how does an element in a set is checked to be present in another set? So as you know that the elements of a set has to be hashable. So each element of a set needs to define the protocol method __ hash __. That is the method that returns a value which is used to compare two hashable objects. So it uses the hash function. It uses hash of the elements of an element in a set to check whether that is present in another set or not. So the idea is that both set 1 and set 2 has to have the same number of elements, and each element of set 1 has to be present in set 2. If it is not the case, then it will return false. So now we have another algorithm for comparing dictionary. How two dictionaries are compared? So we have two inputs, dictionary 1 and dictionary 2. First, it will check whether the set of keys of dictionary 1 is equal to the set of keys of dictionary 2 using the compare set method that we have already discussed. So it is invoking compare set on the keys of dictionary 1 and the keys of dictionary 2. This essentially means that the dictionary dict1 and dict2 must have the same set of keys. That means the key set of dictionary that means the keys of dictionary 1 and dictionary 2 must have the same number of keys, and all those a particular key in dictionary 1, all keys of in dictionary 1 has to be present in the keys of dictionary 2. So the first line, if it is not the case, then it will return false immediately. Now when both the key set of dictionary 1 and dictionary 2 are equal, then it will check the value of the corresponding value for a key in the two dictionaries. It will compare the value. Let's say so the line number 2 is iterating over the keys in dictionary 2. So we have a key. It will invoke recursively the compare object method on the value of key in dictionary 1 and the value of key in dictionary 2. If at any point of time for a key the value of dictionary 1 and the value of dictionary 2 is compared to be false using compare object, then this algorithm will immediately return false. This algorithm will finally return true when all the corresponding values of all the keys in the two dictionaries have been compared to be equal using the compare object algorithm. Now, so back to the final main algorithm, that is compare object. We are first checking that whether the object 1 and object 2 are having the same ID. If it is the case, then it will immediately return true, and then it is checking the whether the type of the two objects are compatible or not. If they are incompatible, then also it will immediately return false. Now, based on the data type, if the objects are list, it is invoking compare sequence. Also, if the two objects are tuple, it is also invoking compare sequence. And if the two objects are set, it is invoking compare set. And if they are dictionary, it is invoking compare dictionary. And finally, if the objects are instances of a class, if the objects are instances of a user defined class, then obviously they have to be instances of the same user defined class, and then it will see if that class has implemented the protocol method underscore underscore equal underscore underscore. If the class has implemented this, has an implementation of this equal protocol method, it will invoke that protocol method on object 1 with the object 2 as an argument. And if this protocol method is not implemented in the class, then it will return false. So that is roughly the algorithm how two objects are compared in Python. Now let's quickly see how it works in the code. So uh, let's declare some data or variables. Let's say x equals 10, y equals abc, and z equals a list. Uh, so obviously x equals y will return false, and uh, z equals y will also return false. Even you cannot compare a list with a tuple. You cannot compare a list with a dictionary. You cannot compare a dictionary with a tuple. Now, so let's see. uh, let's have let's declare a list L1 list. Let's say let's say one a numeric string, and let's say uh, a empty dictionary, and let's say another list over here 1 and ABC and empty dictionary. Now if we compare L and L2, they will be equal because they're having the same number of elements. They have 3 elements, and the corresponding elements, that is the first element of L is a numeric 1.0, which is same as 1 of the first element of L2. The second element of L is ABC, string ABC, which is the same as string ABC, the second element of L2. And finally, the third element of both the lists are empty dictionary. So L equals to L2 will give true. Similarly, but let's say I have another list, let's say 1 comma ABC, an empty list, and let's say any other data. This will obviously not equal to L3 or even L2. Now let's compare. Let's see how tuples are compared. Obviously, let's say we have a tuple 1 comma 2 comma 3 equals to 3. They are true. They are equal. This will also be true because 3 and 3 point even though the third element of the first tuple is is an int and the third element of the second tuple is a float, they are both numeric and they are equal. uh, Obviously this will be false, uh, and obviously this will also be false because they have a different number of elements. Now let's say uh, let's see how sets are compared. Mm, so let's say we have set 1 equals set declare set, let's say uh, set 1 set, let's say we have a set of uh, let's say 1 comma or string, and remember that the elements of the elements of a set are hashable, has to be hashable objects, hashable data types, and they should be immutable data types. You cannot have mutable data types in a set or as a key of a dictionary. Uh, so one ABC, and we can have let's say set uh, mm, let's say a tuple 1 comma 2. Now we declare another set is 2 with the same elements. So S1 equals to equals set 2 true. Let's declare another set is 3, and uh, let's uh, change the tuple and let's mm, make it 0, and obviously now S1 is not equals S3, and definitely S1 not equals S2. S1 equals S2. How? S1, what is S1? Is Oh, S1 and S2 are obviously true earlier. Okay. Now, so I hope you are getting the idea. Mm, 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 mm. For now, let's see how dictionaries are compared. Let's say D1, we have dictionary, let's say, with a key 1, and let's say value as list, let's say uh, 1, let's say ABC, and let's say a tuple 2 comma 3. Okay, we declare another dictionary, let's say D2. mm, let's say the same elements, mm, with the same key 1. Over here let's make it 1.0, and over here we can also do 1.0 and ABC and 2. So obviously now D1 will be equals to D2, since they are D1 and D2 having the set of keys, and the set of keys has only one element, that is the numeric value 1, and the value of the key 1 in dictionary D1 is the list that contains the elements 1 comma 1, the string ABC, and the tuple 2 comma 3. Now uh, if we change, okay, let's if we declare another dictionary, let's mm, mm, let's say we have uh, if you have another mm, key, then obviously now D1 will not be equal to D3, because now in D3 we have another key 2, which is not present in D1. So I hope the basic idea has been demonstrated in this very simple code. And let's try if we can see how the object equality works with instances of a class. Let's if we declare a class, it's a def class A, and syntax error. Uh, let's say mm, just a basic class, a basic empty class. If we do this, and so we defined a class which does not implements the protocol method equals. So now if we have two instances of class A, let's say A1, A2, if we now try to compare A1 and A2, it will return false, because first of all, they are having different ID. Obviously, A1 is a A1 and A2 are different instances of the class A, so they will have different ID, which means they will have different address in the memory. So uh, and since so they are non-identical instances of the same class, and since they do not, the class A does not implement the equal protocol method A1, this will return false. Hmm, the moment I declare, make a reference to A2, now obviously A obviously A2 will be same as A3 because they're having the same ID. Basically, A3 is referencing A2. Now, you can also see that if I compare A1 with any other data type that we have discussed before, like let's say S, S1 false. So it will never throw an exception. When you're comparing two objects, it will never throw an exception. It will return either true or false. If if the instances of the objects are of incompatible type, uh, if the objects are of the have the same ID, it will return immediately true. If the objects are non-identical objects and their data types are incompatible, it will also then return false. So now let's try to uh, mm, see by how the equality works. So if we have a class B, and let's say uh, let's say we declare instance variable, let's say some instance variable, uh, let's say um, let's say 10, and also we declare the protocol method self equals this will take another object, and it will check whether the x instance value of x is same or not. Return self.x equals to object.x. So we define a class B with the which has an implementation of the equals method. Now, obviously, I have hard coded the value of 10, so I should have passed the value of 10 as an argument in the constructor. Anyway, so let's say B1 equals B and B2 equals also B, and if we check B1 equals B2, it is returning true because B the class B has an implementation of equal methods. So when we do B1 equals B2, it is essentially invoking B1 dot underscore underscore equal underscore underscore, and it is passing B2 as the object as argument. And since B1 and B2, when they are instantiated, the instance variable x is having the value 10, it is returning true. I hope this video gave you the basic understanding of how two objects in Python are compared using the equality equals operator. So there is another operator not equals to, which is just the opposite of equals equals. Now, it is a common mistake by beginner programmers to confuse between the equals equals operator and the is operator. Please note that the is operator, when you invoke is operator on two objects, the is operator checks the identity of the two objects. It checks whether the two objects are identical or not. Essentially, it checks whether the ID of the two objects are same or not. But equals equals operator actually checks whether the content or the value of the two objects are same or not. Obviously, if they are identical objects, meaning if they have the same ID, then they are pointing to the same data object in the memory. They will it will obviously have the same content value. So that is the reason identical objects will always return true with the equal equal operator. That is all for this video. I hope this video was beneficial to you. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, take care and bye.